Let's look at two inequality application problems. The first one, a car rental company offers two plans for renting a car. Plan A is $30 per day and 20 cents per mile. Plan B is $50 per day with free unlimited mileage. For what range of miles per day will Plan B save you money? Okay, so obviously we want to turn this into some algebra, okay? So let's look at each plan separately. We have Plan A and Plan B. So Plan A is $30 per day and 20 cents per mile. Okay, so $30 per day is just going to be kind of a flat rate there for that part. And then the and in math means add. And then we have 20 cents per mile. Okay, now real quick, what was this even asking for? It's asking for what range of miles. The per day part is just standard. Okay, because all of this is based off per day. So we are trying to figure out what miles. So when we're talking about miles, that becomes our X. So 20 cents per mile is going to be 20 cents per X. Okay, now there's one part of this that we need to consider that is a little bit different, because if you look at Plan A and Plan B, both of them start out with dollars, $30, $50, but then this part is talking about cents. And when you're doing math equations like this or inequalities like this, you cannot have dollars and cents. You can't mix and match the values here, okay? And so we need everything in dollars. So this cents needs to be converted to dollars, and that's basically just going to be a decimal place in the front there. Okay, also divide by 100 if you wanted to do that. Okay, and then let's figure out B. So B is $50 per day, so this would be 50, with free unlimited mileage. So here's your mileage, that might be X, but free means 0. So 0x is just 0, so I don't need that part. So really this part is just 50 regardless of how much they drive or you drive. Okay? All right, what goes here in the middle though? I think that's the trickiest part here. We want Plan B to save us money. Plan B to save us money. So we want B to be less than A. B to be less than A. But that's not the way I have this set up. I have A first and then B. So if B is less than A and I flip this over, it would be A is greater than B. And that's what's going to go here. Okay? So obviously that makes sense. If B is less, and that's going to be smaller, then A is going to be bigger. So A is bigger than B. Okay? So now, if you go back and watch our previous video, it's to solve linear inequalities, and that's what this is. So we're solving for X. We don't have an X on the right-hand side, so we're just going to go ahead and move that 30 over. This is going to be 0.2. You could write 0 too if you wanted to, and you don't really need the 0 there either. Greater than 50 minus 30 is 20. And then we are dividing by 0.2. So that's going to give us 20 divided by 0.2 is 100. So in terms of like this problem, what does this mean? What does this mean? We're talking about a car rental company and we want B to save you money. And the original question is, what range of miles will make that happen? This is saying for any mileage over 100, B is going to save you money. If you're going to do less than 100, then you need to go with Plan A. And I see this a lot, not just in rental car companies, but I mean, you've got similar things when you're dealing with like cell phone companies. You may have a flat rate, and instead of minutes, you might be charged per like data usage or something like that. Like, you know, you get this many gigs as part of your plan, but if you go over it, you're going to have to be charged this much per gig, like that kind of stuff. So there are applications to regular life, to real life here with this problem. Okay. All right. So our answer there is 100 miles. Let's look at our other problem. I feel like this has a lot of application, especially if you're a college student. Jim has gotten scores of 66 and 73 on his first two tests. What score must he get on his third test to keep an average of 78 or greater? All right, so how many tests are we dealing with here altogether? We're dealing with 3, right? Third test. So we have 3 tests overall, and we want to find the average. How do you find the average of 3 things? I think everybody is pretty aware of how to find the average of 2 things. 2 things is add both up, divide by 2. That same thing is the same, it works the same way with 3. Add them up, divide by 3. So here we are going to add 3 things up. Test 1 plus test 2 plus test 3 and divide by 3. Now we'll fill this in a second. Okay, and then we want all of this, what did the problem say? To keep an average of 78 or greater. So we want all this to be greater than or equal to 78 because it did say you could have 78. Okay, so that's how you know whether you're going to put the equal to. If it just said greater than 78, if it said if it said greater than 78, then you would keep that, okay? Then you wouldn't put the equal to. All right, let's fill in what we know. Test 1 is 66. Test 2 is 73. Test 3, we don't know. That's going to be X. And we're going to add these up and divide by 3. And we want all of that to be greater than or equal to 78. Now, I would add like terms first. So let's go ahead and do 66 plus 73. That's going to be 139 plus X over 3 is greater than or equal to 78. Okay, now how do I get rid of the 3? My recommendation, you are dividing by 3 here. I would multiply by 3. And if you do it on one side, you've got to come over here and do it on the other side. Okay, so what does that do? That makes this 3 and this 3 cancel out, and you end up with 139 plus X is greater than or equal to whatever that is. So 78 times 3 is 234. And now you can solve for X. So minus 139 on both sides. So that's going to be X is greater than or equal to 234 minus 139 is 95. So that means that Jim has to score a 95 on the third test to have a 78 or greater average. So I guess my question would be, would Jim be able to score an 80 average or greater? And how would you figure that out? Basically, you would just change this to 80 and multiply it by 3. That gives you 240. And then we subtract off the 139 and we're at 101. So this Jim would not technically be able to get an 80 or greater. Now, I do want to say this. In the homework, you may get a number that is greater than 100. Okay, so like for example, like I just said, if I said this is, what would he need to make on the third test to get an 80 or greater average? And it came out to be 101, that might actually be the answer. That might be the answer in the homework. And that might be the answer in real life. But where's the reality come in here? The reality is there's not very many classes that you're going to be able to achieve over 100 because that is the maximum grade on a test, right? And so the reality comes in where you go, okay, a 101, that's not possible. It's just not achievable. That doesn't work. There's no bonus points, okay? And so, again, that might be the answer for the computer, but in real life, that just basically means that person would not be able to get that average. So these are kind of this is good for you to see because this is stuff that you could calculate in your classes, but this is also hard conversations, right? So like if this person, for example, had a 66 and 73, and needed to make us 95 because they wanted a 78 or greater average, that is not super likely given their first 2 tests. Okay, so this is where you start having to consider you know, real life. Hope this was helpful.